Hey everybody, this is Kim Danke. I am with All Roof Solutions, but today we are here representing the West Cobb Business Association with one of our awesome and consistent members, Cindy Nelson, and we are here to interview her and let her tell you all about her business. Welcome, Cindy. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate the offer.
You're welcome. I love to use the technology that we have before us to get your name and our businesses of our association out into the public, because we visit each other as members at our different events and things like that. But sometimes we need to go beyond our membership out into the public. And so that's what we're hoping to do today. So Cindy, what I would love for you to do, sorry, I'm talking over you, but one of the things I would love for you to do today is just tell us about your education, your business, and why you do this.
Okay. Well, actually, I went to undergrad school and came out with a business administration and management information systems degree. And I worked in IT for 25 years. I know most people are like, what? But I did. So I started my career working for Hewlett Packard. I worked for another smaller company, and then I went to work for Home Depot. And I loved IT for those 25 years. But as I started to get into the latter years of that, there was a lot of outsourcing going on and a lot of things like that. It just really wasn't the type of environment that I wanted to work in anymore. And I felt like I was supposed to do something different. And I'd started to look around, and trust me, being a lawyer was never on my radar. But my son was in college and getting ready to take his LSAT. And so he wasn't studying as much as I thought he should, being, the mom. And he had always wanted to be a lawyer. And I picked up his books, and it's like, well, this is just logic stuff. This is like IT stuff. And so I bet him that I could beat him on the LSAT test. And so he was like, bring it on. So we both went and took the LSAT test, and I did beat him. I beat him by 1 point. And then he's so much smarter than I am. And he was like, no way, do over. I didn't have anything to lose, So I was like, yeah, fine, I'll take it again. Well, so we both improved our scores, but again, I beat him by 1 point. Of course, I love to tell that story. He hates me to tell that story, but then a lot of law schools started offering me a free scholarship. I thought, I do not want to go to law school. But a lot of my friends say that sometimes God has to hit me with a 2x4 instead of just a nudge. And so it really was a 2x4. One of the schools was Southern Illinois University. And I was born and raised in Illinois, not in the southern part, but my mom lived down there at the time, and so did my brother. And he was actually trying to raise a 5-year-old on his own at that point. And so I just felt like all of this was, just coming to this culmination of this is what I'm supposed to do. So I left my executive job at Home Depot, and I went to law school in Southern Illinois. I lived with my brother, and I helped him raise his granddaughter, sorry. But throughout that time, when I was thinking about going and, all of that, I could think of every type of law that I did not want to do. I didn't want to be a family lawyer. I didn't want to deal with do. But when I got there, there was a free elder law clinic on campus, and I went to volunteer there. And the first day I knew that's why I was supposed to be there. And so, I just fell in love with the idea. I see how it helps so many people. And there isn't a way for anyone to figure out this type of law. You can't go Google it. You can't ask somebody else because they have the wrong answers that they'll give you. There's just no way you can bring this information together. And so I felt compelled to take this on. And I never thought I'd open my own practice. But I did a lot of things while I was going to school to really round out the academic part. So I worked for a judge, I worked in the probate court. In Georgia, I represented senior rights down at the Capitol building and worked with the area agencies on aging. So I did all this stuff so that I could really understand. And I went to work for a short period of time for another elder law firm. I did not like the way that they treated their clients. And so I said, I can't be a part of this. This isn't what I'm trying to do. So I ended up opening up my own firm, and we just celebrated 6 years. And now we have 2 offices. And so I think that the way that we treat people is that we treat them just like they were a family member that we would love. And I think that's made all the difference in the world. If it was my mom coming in that was having this type of situation, I would react, in a different way than if it was just some lady that I didn't know. So we've all tried to encompass that people come to us because they're going through a very difficult time and they don't know what to do about it. And we come with, from the place of love. How can we help them? And we're not about the money. Yes, we charge because we need to make money, but if you don't need it, we're not going to try and get you to sign up for it. It's all about doing what's right for you. And I'm blessed in that my entire team feels that way. So I'm very, very, very blessed with that. So that is probably not what you expected to hear.
It's not, but I loved it.
So then come full circle, my son went to the same college. We were the first mother-son team in law school, yes. So that was interesting. He was going, though, for tax law. He'd always wanted to be a tax attorney. So he did all the types of things to do that. When he graduated, then that's what kind of law he practiced. But he got disenchanted with that pretty quickly. And I really needed help. So I was able to twist his arm and get him to come over and work for me for a short period of time, no long-term commitments, because he didn't want to work with family, which I completely understand. But he's now been with me for 5 years and he loves it. So I think, it all turns out the way it's supposed to be.
That is awesome. So is he in your office or in the other office?
Well, we were in the same office until last year when we opened up this office in Marietta. So he's in Woodstock most of the time, and most of the time I'm in Marietta. But we still talk and, work together very closely.
Good, good. So you've got 2 offices. Where in Woodstock?
It's off at Town Lake Parkway. So right there in Town Lake, where Town Lake and Eagle Drive split, we're right there. In an office park. And then in Marietta, we're at the corner of Dallas Highway and Barrett Parkway. So most people know the West Cobb Diner, and we're in the parking lot. There's a 3-story building in the parking lot that most people don't even know is there. It's amazing. We could drive by and not see it, but we're on the first floor of that building.
Oh, very good. Well, what are the types of services that you provide that most people do not know they need?
And I'm going to tailor this towards business owners because we're talking for the West Cobb Business Association. And so what I see is that people that start their own business, entrepreneurs, they really put their blood, sweat, and tears into that business. You're not going to be successful going at it part-time or that type of thing. You really have to be dedicated and work really hard to be successful. Maybe at some point down the road, you don't have to work as hard, but at least in the beginning. And so I see that a lot of entrepreneurs, they're spending so much time, with their business, and they're sacrificing some time with their family, sacrificing time with their friends, just time to take care of themselves, that type of thing, all in the interest of having a successful business that benefits their family. But a lot of times they forget to take care of themselves and put the right thing in place. And I would say that if I hadn't went to law school, I wouldn't know about this stuff. And so both of my brothers are entrepreneurs and they knew nothing about it. So I think it's not really something that is well known in the business industry. But I like to make sure that one, somebody has the authority to do whatever needs to be done if I go and get in a car wreck and I can't work for a while. So who's going to be able to write checks on that bank account to pay my employees or pay bills? Who has the authority to make those decisions? And a lot of times, as sole proprietors or small businesses, we're the only ones that can do that. We don't let anybody else get into that stuff. We might have a bookkeeper that does some of it, but has limited access. And so if a small business owner does become incapacitated, a lot of what they have put all this blood, sweat, and tears into is really just going to implode if nobody can run the place every day. And so I'll even say my son, a couple years ago, you would think me being the older one, that I would have a health problem, but he actually had a health situation 3 years ago where all of a sudden he had to have some surgery and he was off work for about 3 months. Now, if he had been in business by himself, he probably would have been in a lot of trouble because we don't put those plans together. And a lot of times as people that are married, we think, well, my husband, he would be able to do things for me because we're married. But when it comes to the business and the bank accounts and the bills and getting credit and things like that, my husband isn't a part of that. So he wouldn't be able to get into those bank accounts. And of course, how does my family get fed if I am the sole proprietor or small business owner and I'm not bringing in money? How can money be brought in that takes care of my family? And so I like to make sure that they have a plan for that, but then also for succession. So every business is going to be sold one way or the other, and it's going to be sold either because you decide to retire, you decide to hand it down to someone in the family, or because you pass away and somebody has to do something with it, but it's your legacy. And you can make a really good plan that makes that transition very easy and makes your business worth more money, but you have to plan in advance. And so you're probably wondering, what do I mean by that? What does that actually entail? And so I see that most of us spend, not just entrepreneurs, but most of us spend our life building up a nest egg. And we're thinking that nest egg is going to be what we use during our retirement years. How are we going to enjoy ourselves? We're going to travel, etc. But in reality, that isn't what happens. There's a large percentage of us that get sick and are not able to work for whatever reason, and we have to use that nest egg to pay for medical care. And now I know there's people listening that are thinking, well, okay, but I've got medical insurance, so I'm not worried about that. Today, the cost of medical care can be so astronomical. I'll just tell you about one situation where a client of mine recently was 63 and he got diagnosed with leukemia. He was healthy, everything was fine. He was actually working for someone else. He had medical insurance. Well, he capped out on his medical insurance, and within 2 years, he owed Northside Hospital $600,000 and Kennestone Hospital $400,000. So he was in debt $1 million. Now, by coming to us, we can protect the assets that he had because he subsequently passed away, unfortunately, but he knew that his life was very short and he wanted to do something to protect those assets so that they didn't go to the hospitals and so that they went to his family and his children. And that's what he had worked his whole life for. And that's the same with entrepreneurs, is that we're not doing this so that we could lose it all because we get sick or because, something happens. We're trying to do this so that we have a legacy, so that we can bring more value to other people, but also to our family. And if you don't take steps to plan in advance, to put that plan together, then you're really at risk. And Kim, you work in the roofing industry. And so, if somebody were to fall off of a ladder, and I mean, there's just so many things that we don't think can happen to us. And I don't want to be the negative Nelly just talking about all the negative stuff. But what I can say is that for every individual that comes in and does a plan, it's going to cost you a few $1,000s, but it's going to give you the peace of mind, and also the peace of mind about your family and your legacy. What would happen if? Because I think as business owners, we think of that. What would happen if I get into a bad car accident and I don't come home tonight? What would happen if I have a stroke and I'm alive, but I'm incapacitated? So I think that all people have some of those ideas. It's like sitting on our shoulder, but in everyday life, we just push it off and we keep going. And I'm saying there's a lot of value to put that plan together ahead of time, because when you have to react, you're going to go through a lot of stress. Really, it's going to be your family that's going to go through a very, very stressful time. And they're going to lose a lot of your assets while they're doing that. A lot of what you've worked really hard to put together and create. So I hope that wasn't too wordy, but I have a passion for small business owners to know this.
Yes. Oh, yes. And it sounds like it. And I appreciate that very much. So I think I am confused about what elder care law stands for, because elder sounds like you would need to help the elderly. I think I'm incorrect.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Kim, because that is what everybody thinks. But it is this area of law, just like family law is divorces. Elder law is really putting a plan together for if you become disabled or incapacitated, which does happen as we get older. There's more of an opportunity for that. But we work with anybody 18 and over. And so it's really just having a plan for what I call the curveballs of life that could come your way. And if you have anything that you value, then you should have a plan. And, people talk about life insurance, and there's a lot of people that sell life insurance, and that's a good plan for a chunk of money if you die. Is that a good plan to take care of your family and to protect your business? Well, if you've thought about it, it might be, but we just don't think about those things happening.
So what are the traditional services that you offer? And then maybe a couple that are a little bit that people don't think about.
Right. So we're a lot like an estate planning firm, except that with estate planning, they're focused on how do I transfer wealth from one person to the other when that person dies. And we look at it, how do we protect wealth while you're still alive, but also then transition that easily whenever you pass away. But another benefit is, if you were to have to go to the nursing home, it costs about $8,000 a month. And I know nobody knows that. And there are benefits that you can qualify for, again, if you plan in advance, so that you can get this benefit to help pay for that care. It's not uncommon for us to save hundreds of thousands of dollars for families as people get ill and need that high level of care. There's also a veterans benefit that most veterans have never heard of, that if they need care, that could be home care, or it could be in an assisted living or whatever. If they need care, they can get an extra $26,000 a year. So those are some of the things that, yes, we can do powers of attorney, we can do wills, and we can do trust, your whole estate planning. But we also look at So how can we protect what you've worked your whole life for? And how can we qualify you for some benefits that, you know, you're probably going to need at some point in the future? They say that we all are going to spend about 3 years in a nursing home at $8,000 a month. Yes. Yowts, right?
That's
It's
a lot
like,
of money.
no way. And so we have our own families going through it. We see our parents going through it. It's just a way to kind of get things all taken care of in a neat little package.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, I really appreciate you talking to me today and explaining some of these things because in my mind, elder was elderly. And when you straight into talking about business, I thought, okay, she's meaning way more than just, you know, taking care of people as they get older. And I really like that you explained all of that to us. Thank you so much. But I mean, more than anything, that story of how your career transitioned and then with your son, how fun is that? And to get to know that about you. Fun little fact, my husband graduated from SIU.
Is that right?
Yep, he is a Saluki.
All right, that is interesting. I found quite a few alumni here in the Atlanta area, so you'll have to introduce me to your husband.
Yes, yes, I'd be happy to do that. He went to play tennis with somebody one time, and his partner was from SIU as well. So that is
That's
interesting.
amazing. The world is small.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, that is fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing you at future West Cobb Business Association events. And for those of you who are watching right now, please go ahead and go to the West Cobb Business Association website and check out our events so that you can go ahead and register for them. And we would love to see you there and help you promote your business. If you would like to do one of these interviews for our Facebook page, all you got to do is contact me, Kim Dankey, with All Roof Solutions, and I'll be happy to get you scheduled. Thank you so much, Cindy. I certainly
Thank you,
appreciate
Kim.
it. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.